Hello, I'm Lil.
And I'm Large.
I know you are.
Thanks a lot. Welcome to our first podcast episode.
Well, the intro.
The intro. Today, we're just going to be talking about us, who we are and what we do, aren't we?
I think so.
I think so. Yeah, well, we're new to this stuff, so don't judge us, you know. So, I have a question for you.
Well,
Why did you want to start a podcast?
to talk bollocks.
Well, that's all you do anyway. Why don't you start a podcast?
So if I'm going to talk bollocks, I might as well do it so other people can hear me talk bollocks.
Fair point. I mean, I was obviously up for it because I do YouTube anyway. I'm not going to promote my channel.
No,
And I've been doing it for a few years.
I get the whole YouTube thing, and kids of your generation want to be YouTubers.
Very good.
I mean, I literally don't give a shit. I just want more people to hear my bollocks.
Well, enough people have seen them.
What? Nobody's seen my bollocks.
Do you have a question for me?
Why do you want to do a podcast?
Because I've wanted to do one for a while. Obviously, we have our inspirations. Like, we both like True Geordie and his podcast, and we just want to do a podcast where we can talk bollocks, not about people but about everything. And I like doing that.
Brian's beard isn't as good as mine though.
No. I mean, he's got better hair than you, and he actually doesn't have much.
Oh, thanks.
What? It's just because it's grown out over lockdown, hasn't it? Speaking of lockdown, I think it's a conspiracy.
Well, that is another thing for a podcast.
We'll talk briefly on it now. We'll go more into detail.
No, we're not even going to talk briefly about it.
Because
that is like another thing for another podcast. So what can we expect from this podcast?
You can expect comedy, enjoyment,
lots and lots of jokes.
Lots and lots of jokes, insults probably.
Like, we'll talk about YouTube news and
What's popping at the minute? Popping.
We can talk about conspiracy theories.
We can talk about what's on Netflix.
Yeah. And we can talk about real life stuff.
And another segment that I'd like to do, maybe every couple of weeks or every couple of episodes, don't know when we're going to do them, is if this does get a bit more, out there. I'd like to get some people who are watching to send in some questions to our Instagram at Little and Large Podcast.
Oh yeah.
So we can talk about them, answer their questions, or send us some funny stories so we can talk about them and we could relate to them, obviously.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great. So, yeah.
Send in stories and we can take the piss.
Yeah. If it's personal and you don't want to get taken the piss out of, don't even follow us. Just get the hell away from me.
No, just send in whatever, and we'll try and relate to it.
So I think just for this episode, we should talk about one funny story that we've had, and then that just be it. There's a little bit of a teaser to what we do. I think we should talk. Well, it's lots of stories, little stories put into one. My accidents.
Oh God!
I don't shit myself. I just fall over a lot, and I'm very dramatic, and I can't help that.
As you already know, this podcast is called Little and Large. I'm little, he's large.
Thanks.
There's just something very funny about Large falling over. Especially when it was at a bowling alley.
Or a Sunday League football game.
Yeah, and everybody's looking. Even outside the house, it fell over. And then there's screaming, and the neighbours have come out thinking someone's been murdered.
Let's talk about the bowling alley accident.
Oh God. So, there's you, me.
My mother. and one of
his
our family
mum and
friends.
one of our friends.
We'll call him Tom.
We're all doing some bowling.
Bit of bowling. I'm doing awfully because I'm awful at sports. I think I've got like 3 pins down after you know how you get like 2 goes every round.
Yeah.
I think it's been about 4 rounds by this point. I've got like 3 pins down. You're winning by like 4-11 strikes or something like that.
And then Lodge steps up and he goes to bowl.
Doesn't let go of the ball.
He doesn't let go of the ball, and then goes flying on his arse.
Just cracks my back, like slid over. Like, can you imagine? Like, if you're
Jeez. The people next to us in the next booth were just standing there laughing.
Can you imagine like being in a massive tub of butter, just running and slipping on your arse? That's what it felt like.
I couldn't.
They definitely rub butter on the floor.
No, they don't.
They do. They have to make it smooth.
You didn't even have bowling shoes on.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
I swear I did.
You probably had some shitty Donny trainers on or something.
I wear Johnny trainers. I was probably wearing my Union Jack bloody flip flops. I wore them to go to the. Remember when I wore them to go to the driving range? We went to the driving range, not far by the golf course, and I wore them and I kept on fucking hitting my toes.
Well, you couldn't even hit the ball anyway at the driving range.
I gave up and gave the rest of my balls to you.
No pun intended. But yeah, so you can expect a lot of, well, this kind of shite.
Funny stories.
And yeah, topical stuff and
anything that comes to our mind, we will talk about.
Yeah, all that bollocks.
Literally, this podcast is just shit that we spew out of our mouths. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. And obviously, anyone who watches this, if anyone does watch it, you can send in things
in the comments or on the Instagram.
Yeah. And we can answer them and.
Send us things you want us to talk about, if they're your stories or just something that's going around at the minute, or anything like that. If you want to ask us questions about us, feel free, as long as they're not too personal.
If you want to ask questions about COVID, we're the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, just anything.
I am going to be leaving a link to my OnlyFans in the description.
Oh
no! Cool.
Yeah.
I'm joking, I don't have OnlyFans.
Very good, very good. Well, that's been me, Little.
And me, Large.
And we'll see you in the next episode.
Au revoir.